Welcome to Opinion Havers, a movie podcast for gearheads. I'm Cody.
And I'm Tyler.
Tyler, what did we watch?
We watched Borat 2.
No.
No, that's wrong. We watched Borat's subsequent movie film. Oh, you mean The Conversation?
The Conversation, which is... Yeah, that's the original movie that Borat spun off of.
Exactly.
Oh, Tyler, it's Cody's Corner here today, which is everyone's favorite week. These are the episodes that get downloaded the least. In case anyone's wondering the stats, I would say it's a solid 30% fewer downloads on my movies versus all the other ones we do. You're very welcome. This is the loyal few people who forgot they subscribed to this podcast that are downloading these, and I appreciate you.
Oh, yeah.
Tyler, dare you take a stab at explaining what this movie is? Would you give us a synopsis?
Do you want a real explanation or,
Tyler, no
trash?
one's listening to these, all right?
Okay.
So it doesn't matter. Whatever you feel is best for you.
So what it is it's a journalist from Kazakhstan
Stop.
travels to America. And then he breaks into, he meets a man that is part of the surveillance community, right? Where they're listening in on people's conversations. And then they're like, I don't want to get listened to, man. But they're listening to other people. And then they go to, it's about surveillance. That's what the movie's about.
A paranoid surveillance man. Let me tell you, I learned a lot. I learned a lot from this movie. I learned a lot from the trivia about this movie. I had flashbacks to things I learned back when I was in taking video class in high school.
When you were
excited to talk about it.
A surveillance person.
When I was still a young surveiller.
Yeah. You like to surveil.
I'm going to tell you. I do. I've been known to surveil. Tyler, let me tell you. First impressions, I enjoyed it. I did like the movie. I thought the crescendo at the end was great. I liked it. This movie is very well reviewed. It's Francis Ford Coppola. And I liked it. What did you think of it?
I think Nick Cage's uncle did a great job. I liked it more than I thought it would, because usually with these old movies, as we've found out recently, we've both burned each other on them. We've both been like, oh, these are garbage. They're not good.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like, this was supposed to be funny, or this was supposed to be scary, and it's not. But this one, I thought it was actually good, and it holds up. And that just shows the power in the Cage family.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is, look, you can see why Nicolas Cage draws so much power out of the Coppola family.
Is it his uncle? I can't remember.
Yeah, it's his uncle. Yeah. Wow. Well, I'm glad you liked it. I'm glad I liked it. I'm glad we liked it.
All the stats I have pulled up are still of Borat. I need to actually go to the conversation now.
We can do a 2-for-1 if you want. A review within a review. We can't pop it off.
We can't deprive the people of a full review of Borat's subsequent movie film.
Subsequent movie film, yeah. All right. That's fair. I respect it. I'm ready to get into it if you are. Oh.
Let's talk about the website, the non-for-profit media outlet publishing news stories called The Conversation.
No, I don't want that.
Aren't they like a super right-wing people?
If you're putting out material, it's not. That's like if look, you and I are having a conversation, but someone else listening to this does not count as a conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like if I wrote a newspaper, I can't call it the conversation because I'm just putting out information. It's not a two-way thing. We're not conversing. It's like a surveillance guy, you know? It's like, hey, you can listen in on conversation. Doesn't mean you're part of it.
Yeah. Yes, the conversation is right-wing, I think. Maybe.
Or what I've always said.
Far right
I've always
or far
said
left.
this.
I don't know.
It takes two wings to make a plane. You know, I've always said that. If you had a right wing and no left wing, what are you gonna do? You can just spin on down, crash and burn,
Mm,
right?
you're right. As I believe that was George Washington that said, "What we need is a two-party political system. You need the right and the
Exactly.
left wing. That's how you fly a
Yeah.
plane." Most famous George Washington
Exactly.
quote.
Yeah. Priority number one, let's establish two parties. Priority number two, all issues must fall under those two parties, one or the other.
Yes.
Priority number three, you're good to go. You don't need any more priorities. You can converse yourself to death. You can bicker till the end of time.
Yeah.
It's a perfect system. Couldn't be better. No other country has made another system. Not like anyone else has any other systems out there that work. No way. No way, Jose.
None of them work. What were you about
You
to
got two
transition
options. You have two parties that hate each other, or you have a despotic dictator ruler. Those are it, you know?
to? Yeah.
Pick your poison.
Yep.
Anyway, do you wanna do the thing?
Do the thing. Do the. Well, I think it's early. We're not supposed to do the thing till the end. You know.
Do you want to take us on down to?
Oh, spoiler town. Oh, Cody, get on my moped in a warehouse. Get on my moped, my warehouse moped, and let's drive on over to the other side of the room, aka spoiler town, other side of the room, USA.
Tyler, do you want the honor? Do you want the honor of ranting first about this movie?
Cody, I want you to go first. I feel like I've gone first the last few,
Ooh.
and I want you to start us off this time.
All right. All right, then I'm ready to go.
All right.
I'm gonna pop it off. You shut your face. Hey, I see your mouth. It's slightly open. I don't like any of that. Put that tongue away. Put it away. Close them lips. Okay, I can't see your mouth anymore, so it's fine. Tyler, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something right now. I learned so much about filmmaking watching this movie. Number one, prop. You know, you talk about the prop department. You got a prop, a good prop, but it stands for property. All right, I learned that by watching the credits of this movie at the start. It was like property master. I was like, oh my goodness, that's what that means. I had no idea. Did that not blow your mind that a prop just means property? It's dorky theater film speak. It makes me mad. I hate that I didn't know that. All right. Number two, this man got triple locks on his doors. Not only does he have triple locks on his doors, didn't even work. Went in his building anyway and left him something. Love that. You got 3 locks on there, and somehow someone got a key to all of them. This is great. I love that. This is the best part of this movie, all right? The triple locks. You gotta love it. We're out here. You know what? Sometimes we get into some of these Cody movies, and we're out here watching people making movies about making movies. And that's a fine premise. But what we need more of is movies about audio editing. Am I right? Like, there's not enough film of just people mixing reels, you know, listening to things, mixing it. I was like, yeah, that's what's up. I just want to watch someone edit something on audio. So good. What a great premise for a film. Okay. Here's what I love about this guy. He's a man. He's top of the line. He's one of the best surveillance guys in the biz, all right? He's legendary. Does not own a home telephone. Actually, I think technically he does, but he doesn't give out the number, so it's like a secret, right? He doesn't give out a home phone number. He's got some weird emergency line no one has. So he makes all his calls from a payphone. He went to make a call on a payphone, and literally, he'd been in the phone booth for about 4 seconds. And the guy's like tapping on the window like, hey, you're taking too long. It made me so happy. I was like, dude, what are you even doing? Do you understand how phone calls work? This man hasn't even dialed a number yet. And he's like, hey, man, you got to get out of here. You're taking too long. That man, let me tell you, I had someone pass me today. I was driving in a car, like you do, how most people drive. And a truck, I was going 5 over the speed limit on just a small side road, okay? This truck hauls into the suicide lane, passes me, flings a bunch of dirt. My windows were down, went in the car. I was so mad. I was like, why did this dude just pass me on this road? I caught up to him by the next stop sign, going the same speed I was. I was like, why are you even speeding? Then he went ahead of me, and every 5 seconds, they tapped on their brakes for no reason. I don't know what they were doing. Caught up to him again at the next stoplight. Pulled up right next to him just to be like, I'm here too, thank you. What are people even doing? If someone has to make a phone call, they have 30 seconds before you can get impatient. I would even say a minute. All right, this is San Francisco. It's not New York. It's not London. It's not LA. All right, San Francisco is it's the potheads capital. It's chill. It's chill vibes. Oh man, you know what? You're living the fine life when you're drinking wine out of just like a glass, like a regular glass you would put water or juice in. I was like, that's the classy move right there. It doesn't matter. You don't need a stem. It just makes your wine look like there's more than it is. We need more people to just drink alcohol out of a juice glass. That's what I'm saying. That's the move. That's the real move, okay? This man is off the grid, and that's what I learned is that I want to be. Look, I know I'm putting out a podcast right now. I think we should just get off the grid. You know what? Let's do this on like some sort of secure line. We don't have to put it out. That's what we need. This guy is off the grid. I admire that. Okay, he's paranoid. He's off the grid. He's doing it right. Okay. The mime. Remember the mime in this movie? I think Kiss stole his look. You know the band Kiss? They got the white. This mime looked exactly like that. He could have walked on stage with Kiss, and I would not have questioned a thing and just done his mime thing. Whatever happened to mimes, We had a mime perform for us at in middle school. I don't even know what that was about. I don't know why he was there. He was pretty good, though. You know what's crazy? I saw him 2 different times. He showed up at 2 different functions that I was at separately. One was at a camp, one was at a school. I don't understand what happened, but he was there twice. I've seen this man 2 different times. He was a mime. He was pretty good. He's pretty good at it. Whatever happened to mimes, What happened to him? Fredo's in this movie. You guys seen The Godfather? Fredo's in The Godfather? Fredo's in this movie.
Cody,
we need more movies with Fredo. I will not be silenced.
Cody, I'm silencing you right now.
To say.
Get silenced.
All right, fine. Fine.
All right. Cody, silence yourself. I'm doing this now. All right, hold on. I was not prepared. I got to pull up my notes. Let me tell you about this while I pull up my notes. Everybody out here talking about San Francisco. You're talking about San Francisco. Cody, I turned down jobs in San Francisco, LA, San Diego, all throughout California because I was like, I don't live in California. Too expensive. People tapping on the glass when you're trying to make a phone call on the payphone. I ain't about that life. You know what I'm going to do instead? Move to Boston, a place that's just as expensive, but the people are meaner. All right, so that's a life lesson for you somehow. I don't know. Learn from me, people. All right. You called it out. I thought you wouldn't, but now I'm calling it out. The mime? I hate mimes. If you're a mime, you're a bad person. That's the end of the thing. All right. Your goal in life is to make people uncomfortable and hate you, and you succeed. And that's all there is to it. All right. Don't be a mime. All right. If you're a mime, here's my advice to you. Don't look at me. Don't do it. Don't walk towards. If you are somebody that the second you stand next to them, they walk away. You need to rethink what you're doing. All right? There's a guy, his little assistant dude. They got their little mirror van. These girls come up to do their makeup, and he's snapping pictures of him. I think you need to rethink your business relationship with this man. Seems like like you're asking for trouble. All right? This is like, even back then, it's like, look, man, it's the 70s. You can get away with anything, but you're pushing it. All right? You are pushing the limits to what we could get away with as a business. All right. I liked their sign. Okay. Their sign in the warehouse, perfectly. The light covered up the nose. So it looked like a smoking sign. So they set up giant, you have smoking, only smoking in this area. And I loved it. All right. Here's the thing about this movie, Cody, is fine. It's whatever. What's real about it though, Cody, is the smoking sign. No, but you're right. It is funny. Like, he puts all these locks, tries so hard to like make sure nobody knows. Even his girlfriend's like, I don't know anything about you. He shows up and his overbearing landlady is like, "Oh, I left you something for your birthday," and he's like, "I never told you. I told you no one else was supposed to have a key, not even you." And so it's like, well, now my mail's getting delivered somewhere else because obviously you've been going through my mail, and you got in. When he's like, what about the alarm? What about all these locks? How did you get in here? it. I liked the ramp up of this movie, Cody, but it's like there's a lot to it. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of change in tones. There's a lot of like moments where it's like, oh well, the party is shut down now because this guy brought up this thing that's uncomfortable, and then this one dude walks off screen and comes back, everything's fine again. It never happened. We're moving on, all right? Now we're dancing. Now I'm mad at you. Now we're not mad at you. Now we're mad at you again. Now we're dancing again. Now we're making out. Now they do the 70s thing where there's just a fully nude lady in a slight shadow like old James Bond's, and they're like, "Yeah, this is a PG movie. She's in shadow. You can't see her fully lit body cuz she's in a shadowy area, Cody." I looked at my wife, she looked at me, and she went, "Oh." I was like, "Yep." So James is like old James Bond right here. And we loved it, Cody. It's the return of the shadow nip, but is more than the shadow nip. This man gets so much attention from the ladies. He is a fat 40s balding man, and he is the king of the surveillance industry. He's basically king of the creeps. A creepy king of the creeps. And all the ladies are like, "Oh my gosh, you're so..." And it's like, look, no, all right? Right? He's bald. And he's creepy. And he's beating off these ladies. So this is what I'm learning. I was doing it wrong all these years. All the years I was trying to attract the ladies, I'm like, look, I was trying to clean myself up, look nice, go out to where they were. What I needed to be doing was go out to these, like, stalker conventions, like, shave a big bald patch on top of my head, comb it over. That's how you attract the ladies, Cody. That's how they want you, right? Then they'll stalk you because it's the chase. It's like, how can I stalk a guy that is a professional stalker, right? It's weird, Cody. Is it weird? Is it just me that it's like they're like at a convention for surveillance people, and they're like, look at all these cool things, look at all these industry breakthroughs.
Tyler, I'm gonna cut you off right there because I need to rewind 10 seconds because it's time to have a full discussion about surveillance groupies. And look, there's all kinds of groupies in the world. We got political groupies, we got concert groupies, podcast groupies, of course, we know those very well. Surveillance groupies, perhaps the worst of them all, the most infamous. All right, they're thirsty, and you know what? You're right. Okay. You got to look a little creepy. You got to be in a weird profession. But most importantly, and this is perhaps the greatest move we can learn from Gene Hackman in this movie, you got to say nothing all the time, Be an absolute closed book. You got to be like a walnut. And they just want to crack you open, all right? That's his biggest power. He shows up, and he's like, "Hey." And she's like, "I don't know anything about you." And he's like, "Pfft." And she's like, "Oh, awesome." You know what I'm saying? And it's the same with the other lady. These surveillance groupies are they'll get you, all right? She robbed this man, all right? She straight up robbed him, okay? That's what happens. That's what happens when you get involved with the groupies. He's got game. He's one of those people, he doesn't even want the game, but he's got, what do they call it? In Seinfeld, they call it the Kavorka, It's the lure of the beast, where it's just like, hey, can't help it. It just is what it is. You know what? They're just attracted to me. And when you're the top surveillance man in the country with the creepy raincoat and a bad mustache, that's the hand you're dealt.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about his coat for a second. All right. It was just see-through enough that I was like, I hate this. All right. I hate this.
It was a major choice because they were like, all right, you've got to look a little bit more desperate and depressing and out of place than you do. He's like, I have a great idea. Mustache, raincoat. And they were like, you overdid it, but good for you for committing. And he went with that look for the whole movie. Absolutely worked.
Yeah, like it was fine.
King of the coat.
And then there were certain scenes like where he's walking away where I was like, can you see through that raincoat? And it just made me uncomfortable. I was like, oh no, I hate that. I hate that I can see your legs. No,
you got to tease him. You got to tease him to please him. You know what I'm saying? You got to give him just enough where it's like, oh, that's just a coat. And like, Or is it? Oh, what's underneath? I can kind of see what's underneath the coat. It's khakis, definitely.
It's khakis.
But now, you know what? You just upped the ante on your khakis.
So when that one guy comes up to him and he's like, "Oh, that's a nice suit. Oh, my God, it's French." And then they walk out and you see it in the light, and it's just, I was like, that was a nice suit in the 70s for sure. And I was just like, oh, okay. I don't know if I'd compliment somebody on that suit nowadays. But then it was like one of those things where it's like, this is the 70s, Cody. The 70s were a different time. A better time? Probably not. But a different time.
This is true. Let me tell you. I forget her name. The lady who was at the show, the main surveillance groupie. She got scary legs. Am I wrong? Like, I was terrified of them. There comes a point where legs get too small where I'm like, chicken. I can't do it. I got to run away. It's like a bird thing. I think I've got a thing about birds. And I think the skinny legs bring it out in me. Where I'm like, okay, this is danger territory.
You're too attracted to them, is what you're saying.
Exactly, yeah. Oh, yeah. It brings out some sort of an animal bird instinct in me, and I'm like, this is not a safe place to be. All right,
an animal bird.
Some Kavorka action happening. Okay, my other favorite minor character in this movie, by a mile, Elton John bouncer. All right, this is towards the back half of the movie where he's like going to confront the director, and one of the security guards is like, "No, you can't go up there." But he's like got blonde hair and like fancy sunglasses. I'm like, you're Elton John. You look just like Elton John, but like 6 inches taller and a bouncer. He was strapped. He had a piece in his pants and everything. So he's like security guard plus Elton John. Made me real happy. Not gonna lie.
I like how they picked him up and they're like going to carry him out, like they're gonna throw him out, and then he just kind of like goes limp, and they're like, "Oh, okay, we're done." And then they all just kind of awkwardly stand up for a second.
He made a face like he was trying to squirm, but he didn't. He just went dead. Like he said, so it was like his like strained face, but then just like limp body. I was like, wait, are you trying? Hold on.
Yeah, it's like when you're trying to like wrangle a child and they just go dead limp. Like that's what his strategy was. And I was like, they can lift you, man. Like I don't think this is gonna work the way you want it to.
You have no feet or hands on the ground. There's no leverage working in your favor right now. Ah, it's great. I love the twist in this movie. I really liked it, right? So the whole thing of the movie is he gets paid a bunch of money to surveil this conversation, and he has to like put multiple mics around to capture it and then mix all the reels and put them together. But he gets kind of obsessed with it, right? And then he's all paranoid, and then he's like, well, what if these people get killed? Because they were worried. They're like, he would kill us if he had the chance. And it's like, oh no, I don't want people to die because that happened to me another time where I surveilled some people, led to their death. So he's feeling all these guilt and these emotions. He follows him to the hotel, listens in, and there's like a person that gets attacked, and he's like, oh no, I did it again, right? So it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
I love the twist at the end where it's like, oh wait, it wasn't that the guy was going to kill them. This was a really complicated plot for them to kill the director.
Yeah.
I thought that was a great twist. I loved it, and I liked the momentum and the build up to that. That's what I thought like the real strong suit of the movie was. Like it was an interesting character, but him getting obsessed with it and then it ended up being this like twist scenario. I thought that was awesome. It's great.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting, like, how they started. It almost like looks like when it like shows the guys with the mics, like they look like snipers on the roof.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you're like, oh, they're gonna kill this people, and it's like, oh no, they're just listening to him. Oh wait, no, oh this director is definitely gonna kill him. Just like like you said, like how it like kicks it off with that, and then the reveal that he had done this like seemingly impossible surveillance job, and 3 people had been murdered because of what he had uncovered, or like the tapes that he had given, and so he's so terrified of that happening again. His coat is just, it's just something else.
The coat? You back on the coat?
I'm looking through pictures of the movie.
Oh yeah.
And there's lots of him in his coat.
Um, I had a SpongeBob moment in this movie. Like it made me think of a SpongeBob episode. I wonder if he had the same thing. It's when he's playing along to the jazz record, and he stops playing, and the jazz record keeps going. It made me think of Squidward's clarinet, where you're like, oh, Squidward's really good at clarinet. And then it stops, like, oh no, he's just listening to really good clarinet music and pretending to play. So
Okay.
I did learn that Gene Hackman learned to play the saxophone for this role. So isn't that fun?
That is fun.
It's such a jazz thing, you know. It's like I'm gonna listen to records and play along with the records, like I'm in the jazz club with the jazz people, you know.
Yeah.
Man, so at the end of the movie, right? They, Harrison Ford's character calls him, and is like, "Hey, just want you to know, we've been listening. We're gonna keep watching. You just stay out of it, all right? You stay on out of it. No, okay." So that's when he goes full crazy. He's like, "All right, I gotta find out how they tap my phone." He like rips his apartment apart. All I could think was, this man is not getting his deposit back. It's gone. There's no way.
Oh yeah.
That's all I could think of.
Yeah, that deposit is long gone. You're right. But you gotta do what you gotta do. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
It's like, screw the landlords. It's like they're everybody go out and rip up your apartment right now. Tear up all your floorboards.
So
Stick it to them.
There is some ambiguity to the ending, and even Francis Ford Coppola said he wasn't, he didn't like have a definitive ending in mind for it. So here's my question to you: where was the bug in his apartment? Because Bailey came up with a really good theory, and but it isn't mentioned by Francis Ford Coppola. He mentions a couple options. So what would you say?
Well, the only thing it doesn't show him like searching or tearing apart is his saxophone or his coat.
Yeah. Yeah, those are good guesses. Francis Ford Coppola mentioned a couple things. He said, number one, could be a saxophone holder, similar to what you said, the saxophone. It could have bugged that, right? The other thing he said was it could have all been in his mind. Like he wasn't actually, the apartment was never actually bugged. It was just him freaking out. But Bailey's theory, which I think is the most accurate, would be the glasses are bugged. Mm-hmm. Because the groupie lady takes off his glasses before they have their little sexy time. And someone mentions the bugging, like, one smaller to put on glasses. They mentioned something like that in one of the conventions or something. And she takes off his glasses. And they specifically mentioned, like, oh, well, we didn't know what clothes they'd be wearing, so we couldn't we couldn't bug their clothes or use a pen on their clothes or whatever, because there's no way to know what they were going to wear that day. But it's like, hey, Gene Hackman always has to wear his glasses. So I thought that was a pretty smart one.
That is smart. I like that.
This movie.
Oh,
No.
So yeah, but like my initial, like you were saying, my initial thing was like before it showed that the director had been murdered. Was like, oh, this is all in his head. Like he's going crazy. Like none of this is really happening. And even until like all the news reporters were asking her about the guy dying, I was like, oh yeah, no, this is just him going crazy. Like there was nothing, none of this really happened. But the director definitely did die.
Yeah, he's a dead man. So my question is like, so there's the two people in the conversation, right? They were obviously plotting something, and that's kind of the big twist is like, hey, they were just getting him to, getting the guy to show up at the hotel room, and then that's where they ambushed him and set up the whole decoy thing. My question is, do you think Harrison Ford was involved?
That's what I was about to ask you.
I would say yes, because like he was so anxious to get the tapes, and he was even like replaying sections, where the director's like, Harrison Ford was like, oh, do you want me to play that back for you again? He's like, I already got, like just keep playing it, whatever. So, and Harrison Ford is the one who calls Gene Hackman to say like, hey, we're listening, just stay out of it, So I would say Harrison Ford is involved. Yeah. He helped set up the decoy, of like, hey, the misdirective show up at the hotel, and he would kill us to give us the, if he was given the chance.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah. That's, I mean, yeah, you're probably right, because then, like, he was still there at the end, right? Like, he would, If your boss dies, do you keep your job? That's the real question, you know? How's that work?
I mean, if you helped get him killed, sure.
Yeah.
If you're a secretary or like an executive assistant and the executive dies, then you just take their place. That's simple.
That's the
Simple
rule.
business math.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought this. So this is interesting. I learned. So this is from American Zoetrope, is the studio, which is a studio that George Lucas and Francis Ford Coppola started. So they were like, Hollywood sucks, right? We should do indie movies. We should like start a new Hollywood in San Francisco. And that's what Zoetrope Studio was. So until Star Wars, all George Lucas's movies were under Zoetrope. And then most of Francis Ford Coppola's movies have been under Zoetrope. Sofia Coppola does Zoetrope movies. So I thought that was interesting. Because my understanding was, at least when I learned about this in high school, was like, oh yeah, they tried to start this movement. It didn't really go anywhere. But it's like, no, the studio's still around today. And they have won several Academy Awards because they produced movies like The Godfather and The Conversation and Lost in Translation, a lot of those movies. I thought that was interesting.
Not to derail your train of thought or anything, did you hear that pop just now?
No, I think that was, I don't know, your brain, maybe?
Cody, I'll tell you right now, that was my wrist. I did this move, I grabbed it, and I bent it back a little bit, and it popped like a gunshot, all right? And if I just need you to know it felt very nice.
So sad I missed it. I wanted to be a part of that with you.
My wrist feels amazing right now. I feel like I could do anything. I could go like this. I can go like this.
Yeah. Whoa. Both ways?
Exactly.
Wow.
Maybe like hold that like that or like that.
Whoa.
All the ways.
I can't even do that. Tyler, you're a new man. You're reborn today.
Exactly. I mean, that's, is a special
oh, yeah. One thing interesting about this, so, Gene Hackman, like, as he goes and keeps listening to the conversation and covering more pieces of it, he's like, oh, this is what she meant by that. And, like, do you hear how she said, oh, my God? And, oh, can you believe she said, like, he keeps uncovering all these different things. And I found out the actors gave different readings of the lines in the conversation. So throughout the movie, they play different. So it's not the same readings of the same lines.
Yeah,
they change them a little bit throughout.
You can hear some of the tones change. Like, I did like how they changed. So when he, like, the first few times he listens to the guy say, like, he'd kill us if he had the chance, it's very much like he'd kill us if he gets the chance. Like if we give him the opportunity, he will kill us. And then at the end, after it's revealed, like, oh, they killed him, he's like, well, he'd kill us if he got the chance. It's just like a little bit of a tone change where it's like, we're going to kill him, but he would do the same if he was in our position.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh,
definitely.
yeah. Oh, it's all coming together, all the threads,
Oh, yeah. So towards the end of the movie, there's like a blue Mercedes, like like a limo, blue Mercedes limo. It's one of the cars at the end. Francis Ford Coppola won it on a bet from the film studio because they're like, Godfather was like a nightmare script that everyone was like, this can't get made. It's not going to do well. They got it really cheap. Francis Ford Coppola did it, and because it was so successful, he won a bet with the studio, so they gave him the car. So that's how he got the car. They put it in the movie. Isn't that fun? And what's interesting is they kind of have a reference to the number two surveillance guy in the country. He talks about how he spent months investigating a political candidate, and I'm not going to say who it was, but my guy won, right? This came out right around the time of the Watergate scandal. What's crazy about it, and that's part of the reason why it had such an impact at the time, this movie was written in the late 60s, like well before any of that happened. So Francis Ford Coppola wrote it, couldn't get the script funded until he became the director of The Godfather, and then they're like, oh yeah, definitely you can make this movie, no problem. So kind of crazy that he wrote this thing that applies very specifically. It's about surveillance. He even references something like Watergate happening, but they filmed it. They wrote it and filmed it before Watergate even broke all the major details of it. So kind of a eerie coincidence. Perhaps my favorite fun fact about this movie, the original cut was 4.5 hours long. So more than twice the length of the movie as it stands today. And they cut out there were all these plot lines of like one of his neighbors that he helps and another person he gets involved, like, and they just cut all of those out. I'm like, which I think is the right move, because for me, I think this movie went any longer, it would lose its power, because the first half's a little slow, and then the second half, once you kind of get in on the conspiracy, it gets more interesting. But yeah, so there's a whole 2.5 hours of footage left behind on the cutting room floor. Imagine all the additional acting Gene Hackman did as this dude, Crazy.
I mean, and it's just lost to the ages, Cody. Truly a tragedy.
Can you imagine a 4.5 hour cut of this dude? Wild.
It's what we need, Cody. It's what we need,
Oh, yeah. Gene Hackman said this is his favorite role he's acted in. Francis Ford Coppola has said this is his favorite movie that he's directed. Oh. So, over The Godfather and Apocalypse Now and all those other ones.
But, Cody, what's his favorite movie that he's ever watched? Could it be 8.5? Maybe.
Almost definitely. Seems accurate.
I gotta tell you, when they were like walking around and like there's the weird, like the conversation all warbled and then it slowly comes in and it's just them talking and like all the weird cuts between all the different vantage points and everything. I had a moment where I went, oh my gosh, this is gonna be 2 hours of these people walking slowly around this freaking park and like the conversation cutting in and out. I'm like, this is gonna be Dinner with Andre all over again. But it wasn't, and I was very pleasantly surprised, because I was like, I had a full, 5-10 minutes where I was like, oh my gosh, you've done it to me again, Cody.
Yeah, this is one Bailey walked in and out of. So she came in for some of the more interesting parts and then left for some of the other parts. When the movie first started, it was not unlike 8.5. I had like an audio panic where I was like, oh gosh, my speakers, something's messed up about my speakers, my receiver or something, because of the warbly sound. I was like, oh gosh, what did I do this? Like, what did I bump or what did I disconnect? I was like, oh no, it's supposed to happen. It's normal. Everything's fine. Cool.
I had my speakers just recently did a weird thing, and I was just like, oh, it's just because it's like an old trailer from like the 50s or something, like an old like cartoon, and I was like, oh, it's just like a weird robotic voice. But then the next trailer, it also did a weird high-pitched robotic voice, and I was like, oh no, it wasn't for this movie, it was for earlier when we were just watching TV. Full panic, Cody. I was like, no. I just turned it off, back on, and everything was fine.
So I think we all know what's happening, and it is that your speaker is becoming artificially intelligent. This is the beginning of Skynet, and your speaker is the next Terminator. And I think you need to take it out now. I need you to throw it in a pool of magma, and let's just get this over with. You know what I'm saying?
It is very smart. It is, Cody, here's the thing. I've never used this feature, but I bought this one particularly because it has this feature. It is a Samsung soundbar is the base, and then there's satellite speakers, right? I got a Samsung phone, which means I can go up and tap the top of it with my phone, and my phone will automatically connect to it.
Ooh,
but you have to
that's nice.
Tap the phone against the thing, so it's gotta be like tap.
Okay.
And then it's like, yep, we're connected now.
Wow.
Yeah, I've never used it, not once, not a single time.
So your phone can murder you also.
Exactly. They can communicate. They can talk. They can plot against me in unison.
Of all the ways to die, that has to be one of the better ones, To be murdered by your own cell phone. I would take it.
Yeah. Tiffany and I watched G-Force recently, and that's how a lot of people went out in that movie, So it's like...
The hamsters?
Yeah. Would you rather get murdered by your cell phone or your coffee maker? That's the real question.
They're guinea pigs.
They're guinea pigs, Cody. How dare you?
My first grade teacher had guinea pigs. And let me tell you, I got a story for you. She had guinea pigs. The guinea pigs had babies. And they're like, hey, if anyone in the class wants a guinea pig, ask your parents. And, you can take a guinea pig home if you would like one, okay? I was like, Mom, please, yes, I would love to have a guinea pig. Can we have one? She was like, I'm so sorry. I'm allergic to guinea pigs. That's okay. You know what? That's the way the cookie crumbles. Fast forward 17 years, my mom not allergic to anything. She looked at my 6-year-old face and she lied to me. Never said anything after that again. So, in case you're wondering, my parents are liars, and if they're listening to this, I have not forgotten. All right, I have not forgotten. I will not forget.
So did you never have pets growing up because your mom was fake allergic to everything?
No, we had a cat and we had dogs. We had all the dogs. We had hermit crabs and we had fish at one point.
All right, so here's the thing: you had cats, dogs, and hermit crabs.
Yeah.
So I gotta throw this one on 6-year-old Cody. All right, 6-year-old Cody should have been sussing this part. He should have been like, you should have been able to do the critical thinking necessary.
Rodents are different than cats and dogs. All right. You know what I'm saying? Those are different allergies.
Here's the thing.
What I should have done and been like, let's have a naked mole rat then. No hair. We're good to go.
Okay, there are naked guinea pigs. Tiffany showed me them.
She's like, yeah, but these were not naked guinea pigs. What? I'm going to go take a little razor and shave it once a week? That's adorable. I would love to do it, but I don't think that might be animal abuse, is it?
I don't know. Here's the thing about
PETA, if you're listening, tweet us at Opinion Havers.
Okay, yeah. Cody, let me ask you this. How do you feel about the naked cat? You know, the hairless cats.
You know what? The tan colored one, super gross. The black colored one, adorable. Precious.
You're a monster, Cody. As I told Tiffany, you're a bad person. I'm sorry, but there's no other way around it, all right? If you like them and you think they're cute, you are inherently a worse person than if you admit that they're monsters, all right?
No. I'm open to animals, and you are closed off. You know what? You're the bad person.
Okay, let me put it this way.
As a man who is destined to be bald, I cannot discriminate against these bald animals.
But Cody, the bald animal is just it's the creep in the trench coat of the animal kingdom, all right? That's what it is. It's like I can't see anything under your trench coat.
So what?
But I see bare calves. So I know you're not wearing pants. So at best you're wearing shorts. At worst you're wearing nothing.
You're saying you're going to get a naked cat and you're going to look up and it's going to be on the second floor of your house and it's going to have a little gun-shaped microphone surveilling you?
Yes.
Listen to your conversations. Yeah. All right.
You know?
Look, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I'm still better than you.
I mean, that's just what a naked cat lover would say. You also, I mean, you're the one that believed your mom was allergic to guinea pigs, so, you know.
That's true. You know what's fun about guinea pigs? Is that there are indigenous guinea pigs in South America, like in Peru. Yeah. And the word for them is cuy, C-U-Y, which is just a fun word in Spanish, cuy. And they eat them. They're way bigger, and they just eat them. So it's like a dish.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you're in Peru, there's a couple dishes you'll eat. Papa la huancaína, that's one. It's great. It's a baked potato with like a garlic cream sauce. The other one is cuy. Just a big old guinea pig you munch on.
Here's the thing. One of the guinea pigs in G-Force, Cody, has a Hispanic accent, all right? Her name is Juarez.
Oh, racist.
And she speaks
that's
with an accent.
Name. That's a city. Oh.
All right? And at the end, they're doing this whole thing where they think they're genetically modified or genetically designed or whatever, you know? And he's like, no, you're just regular guinea pigs. He's like, Juarez, we found you in a like a food market in Peru. And I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah. They explained why she has an accent, and I hate it. I hate that they didn't just say, yeah, no. Here's the thing about this. This movie is like, Cody, it's like The Conversation. It has a lot to do with surveillance, all right? Because they're spies.
The guinea pigs in G-Force? Okay.
It's from the same guy that did Sky High.
We're talking, so hold on. We're talking about Francis Ford Coppola's classic Oscar-winning film, The Conversation. and we're comparing it to
G-Force.
G-Force, the guinea pig spy animated movie.
Yes.
All right, carry on. Just wanted to clarify.
This movie, I'm gonna say it right now, is by the same people that did Sky High, and I think the entire
Classic.
movie is based on the girl that can turn into a guinea pig in that movie. And they're like, but what could a guinea pig even do? And then the movie spawned from that. And the movie is very much like they pitched the movie to Disney. The Disney executive did his line of cocaine and said, "You're on, make it."
Then they were like, he did his line of cocaine. He pet his little guinea pig, and he's like, "You're a genius. Yes, go."
Exactly. And then they panicked, and they're like, "We don't know what
The
to
guinea
do
pig
now."
did his little mini line of cocaine too. There's a big line for the guy, and there's a little mini line for the guinea pig.
Does he have a little mini mirrored table that he can do it off of?
Oh yeah, he's got a little teeny tiny credit card. All right, we're remaking Scarface. It's gonna be an animated guinea pig voiced by Al Pacino. We did it. It's get all the Scarface fans will be happy. This is a perfect reboot because all the Scarface fans, they'll be happy. They're gonna love the reboot. All the kids, they're gonna be introduced to the world of Scarface. We nailed it. This is the perfect movie crossover.
I mean, I'd give it $1 billion personally.
Me too.
Funding, you know.
Me too. I'm gonna be honest with you, Tyler.
Yeah.
I'm about out of things to say about the conversation.
Yeah, it's one of those movies where it's a movie.
Oh,
and it's good.
When you think about it that way, it changes the whole
right?
whole thing.
Really opens it up for you, doesn't it? It is a film. It's shot on film.
Quite. Yes.
And there are people acting like people that don't
I will
exist.
say, watching him do the gear, working with all his gear when he's editing, it made me happy. It did make me kind of happy, because I've got a turntable, I've got a couple preamps, and there's knobs, and you can change the settings and the decibels and the hertz and all of it. And it made me think of that. I'm like, I would show them to you, but they're all hooked up. But I got them, and they're precious, and I love them. So it did make me happy. As a man with a little bit of gear, I had respect for the gear.
Yeah, I thought it was cool when he was putting together the final tape because he had the 3 individual microphones and he had to turn one down, rewind it, turn that one that got all garbled down, and find the one that had the best, try to clean it up, and then pull that out, so that when you hand it off, it's just this clean recording. And it's I don't know, it's one of those movies where you never really think about it, but there is a whole private sector industry around this, and it's something you just never think about being something. You always think about CIA agents doing it or something. Never not that most people that do surveillance are just yeah, I'm just a dude that knows how to use all this audio equipment, recording some mid-level manager that's probably cheating on his wife,
Right.
And
no, it is interesting when a movie kind of takes that approach where it's hey, there's this whole world we didn't even think about, That's kind of like if you see the movie Coda on Apple TV, it's nominated for Best Picture. I really enjoyed it, but it's about Coda stands for Children of Deaf Adults. So it's oh, right. There aren't that many movies about people that are hard of, are non-hearing or speak sign language. So it was interesting to be oh, right. Whole new perspective. Seeing the world through the eyes of these people, kind of cool. This movie didn't win any Oscars, but it was nominated for Best Picture, Best Screenplay, and Best Sound. Obviously, how did it not win Best Sound? You know what I'm saying? My question is, what other movies were going this year?
That's what I was about to ask you. You're on.
I'm
gonna
look it up right now.
I see you looking at it.
I'm opening it up. So I hate when I pull it up and it's here's all the special achievement awards. I'm get out of here.
You don't even care. You don't even need all.
There's so many. Okay, well here's one. It lost. If I'm looking at the right one, I think it lost. No, adapted screenplay was Godfather Part 2. This didn't come out at the same time as Godfather. Okay, this is so hard.
The Oscars. Here's the thing, Cody. Let's Let's just stop. What if we just didn't do the Oscars anymore?
But then what would I have to complain about?
Here's the thing. If Dune doesn't win this year, we got to burn it down.
That's true.
Because we can't have Tenet get snubbed last year and then Dune get snubbed this year. All right? We can't have it happen twice. We got to draw a line in the sand, Cody.
I don't know if I'm strong enough to do it.
Cody, if Dune doesn't win, I will invade a third world country myself. All right? I feel like that's an appropriate response.
I respect it, and I think you should do it. I'll be here supporting you from afar, not involving myself, but definitely keeping you in my heart.
Will you secretly give me funding through clandestine
I definitely
methods?
won't. I definitely won't, but, you know, I'll be here thinking and, you know, wishing you well.
You'll publicly, on all the social medias and everything, you'll send me positive vibes. And
vibes, thoughts, prayers, it's all heading your way.
Make known that you're in support of me invading. You know what? I'm invading Switzerland. So
that
you
is
are on
great.
notice, Switzerland. Switzerland, although, you know, third world means you're not part of like what is that? It's like there was the U.S. and the Soviets, or the West and the Soviets, and if you weren't part of those, you were third world. Switzerland, they're neutral. What do they got going on there? What are they up to? So they'd be third world. So I stand by it.
They figured out a way to get cheese that has holes in it. That's what they've been working on. They've been kind of riding that high for a while.
You know?
Okay.
What?
So I think I found the right year of Oscar.
Okay.
I think, except now I'm questioning myself yet again.
Because you know, Cody, before you go into this anything, you know the whole thing is like we're invading Switzerland, but you know what the final goal is. Then I'm going to take over Switzerland. That's going to upset some people that I have a long-standing feud with. And that's going to pull opinion havers as an entity into a war with France, Cody. With France.
Oh, yeah, there it is. There it is.
Because I'm going to take over Switzerland. I'm going to start talking about how I got better cheese, I got better wine, I got better chocolate. I'm going to really put France on blast.
Wow. I mean, I'm a little nervous. I'm nervous, but this, you know what? I'll be here. My vibes, my thoughts, my prayer, they're all with you.
Yeah. And I'll say, Cody, he's right behind me. He supports me. He's sending me arms, ammunition, money, backing. You know?
Yep. Definitely.
That'll really get him. No one's going to care about me invading Switzerland right now. There's bigger fish to fry. Plus, it's Switzerland. I feel like I could walk in there and be like, I've taken you over. And they'll be like, cool.
I'm like, yeah, whatever. It's fine. This is hard. This is the hardest thing I've ever done, is trying to find what year Oscars this movie counts as, because none of it's working for me.
Cody, I gotta be honest with you. I've exhausted my stuff I can talk about invading Switzerland. You know.
Here's what I'd like to do instead. I would like you. I don't believe that this movie was ever involved in the Oscars, because I've gone through the year before this movie came out, the year it came out, and the year after it on the Oscars official page, and I can't find it. So, yeah, it's not a real movie. I'm not convinced the movie we saw even exists. And that's all you need to know.
Look,
Tyler,
it says nominated for 3 Oscars.
You don't know that.
You got nominated for Best Picture. All right. Here's what I'm going to tell you. You want to know what it lost to for Best Picture?
I found it. Okay. I found it. So it lost Best Screenplay to Chinatown. The same year, The Godfather Part 2 came out. So it's screwed there. There's nothing that's going to happen, all right? So it lost Best Picture to Godfather Part 2. Either way, the Chinatown also came out that year, so it was not going to win that one. And what was the other one? Was it director?
Best sound.
Directing. I
Look, you're looking at director, and I'm telling you, it's not. It's the best
That
sound.
award doesn't exist. I hear what you're saying about the. I found it. It was listed as audio on some other page. I'm like, well, that's not a category.
It's Earthquake.
The movie Earthquake won Best Sound that year. So, you know, what are you going to do?
Nothing.
Also, Young Frankenstein was nominated for Best Sound. So,
so good.
wow.
It's a good
Can
movie.
you believe Francis Ford Coppola had The Godfather Part 2 and The Conversation in 1 year? How does that work? This movie was 4.5 hours long. How did he even have time to work on The Godfather Part 2? Which is really 2 movies in 1 movie. What is Francis Ford Coppola? What are you even doing? You know? Who is this man?
He's just trying to get away from his crazy nephew. That's what he's doing.
That's true.
That's why he's working so much.
Tyler, the last thing I wanted to talk about, it's my favorite thing to talk about now that we've been doing this. What grade would you give this movie?
B plus.
That's what I was gonna say. Tyler, I feel so close to you. After the Batman episode, I was like, we're so far, I don't even know who this man is. And now that we agree on the grade for the conversation, I feel like we've renewed our vows, we've reconsummated this relationship, and we're together again. You know?
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean.
I'm taking it back. I'm gonna fully support you invading this third world country.
Yeah. Of Switzerland.
Full support.
Just to be clear,
I've got $200 in my pocket. Burn. I'll give that to you. Buy yourself some I don't know, what can you, some combat boots and a ski mask. I don't know, whatever you need.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
Well, B plus is all around. I want to say thanks for listening. You can rate us, share us wherever you find podcasts. You can yell at us on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook at Opinion Havers. Check out the memes. And until next time, watch movies.
And have opinions. Now, Cody, what you've done is you forgot about the device.
Do it. Divine the film.
What's up, Doc?
What's up, Doc?
What's up, Doc?
Tyler, this is a great day for all of us. You're going to be delighted to watch this film. It is, I can't spoil it. I can't. Tyler, reach your hand out. Touch me. This is a great day. This is the best day.
Yeah. Okay. I'm scared.